am Puss in Boots. I am no one's lap cat.
Well, well. If it isn't Puss in Boots himself. In the flesh.
Hey.
Hey, I never do this, but can I get your autograph? Been following you for a long time. Sign right there.
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death. Bounty hunter.
You don't want to sign my poster?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Hello, this is the Critical Advocate, and today's review is for the animated film by DreamWorks Animation called Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The film is directed by Joel Crawford, an underrated director who made The Croods, A New Age, Kung Fu Panda, and many other films which I really liked. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a sequel to the 2011 film called Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots is a storied fairy tale character with whom I am sure everyone is familiar with from their childhood if you have read any fairy tale storybook for children. Puss in Boots in this film is the same one introduced in Shrek 2, which is the best Shrek film in my opinion. Shrek was made as a parody of the fairy tale genre and the Disney films. It offered something fresh at the time when Disney had the monopoly over the thought-provoking and heartfelt animated films. Shrek was a breath of fresh air in that regard, because it made fun of the tropes in Disney movies and combined it with an original story. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is therefore a spin-off film set in the Shrek universe, and the sequel to the 2011 film called Puss in Boots. I'll be honest, when I first saw the trailer for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a part of me was excited because I love the Puss in Boots character, who is voiced perfectly by Antonio Banderas. But the other part of me was not so excited because even though I enjoyed the 2011 film, it was nothing to write home about. It was a decent film and a serviceable animated film for kids and adults alike. But it didn't win any major awards or was never brought into any conversation. However, after watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I was extremely blown away because this film truly is a masterpiece. DreamWorks Animation is really changing the game with their films, and if they continue to stick with the formula implemented here, I think we could see them compete with Disney again, like they did during the 2000s. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is incredible on many different levels. You know the familiar cat cliches that say cats always land on their feet and cats have 9 lives? Well, this film takes those tropey cliches of cats having 9 lives and turns it into a thought-provoking, hilarious ride from start to finish. Basically, the story follows Puss, the legendary hero outlaw, who is down to his last life. After dying 8 times, Puss wants to reclaim his legendary status and confidence back, and embarks on a heist to steal the wishing star capable of restoring his 9 lives back. Puss begins to reflect on his previous lives once a certain wolf character played by Wagner Moura appears on screen. He manages to pull off a great performance, which makes the wolf one of the most badass and cool villain characters I have ever seen in an animated film. Trust me when I say that. Every scene that this wolf character is in, the mood of the film changes, which throws away the whimsical and wacky comedic sense developed in the Shrek movies out the window in favor of an almost horror-like atmosphere. No one is safe when the wolf appears, and that is what makes this film so great. The reason why the wolf character is so effective is because there is never a moment where he is compromised with a stupid fart joke that the Shrek movies have so popularized. The film manages to perfectly balance very deep and complex topics about mortality, what it means to live selfishly without reevaluating your mistakes and mending things. Puss in Boots is as lovable as always, but in this film he faces a challenge he has never faced before. Gone is his fearless heroic prowess, his narcissistic self. Instead, we see Puss being vulnerable for the first time. It is that moment where you see your heroes completely broken and you realize that Father Time comes for us all. Life is like a wave. One moment you are touching the sky and the next you may be down in the gutter. The film dissects the untouchable Puss in Boots to the core and we get to know him in a different light. Then there are other characters like Kitty Softpaws, a returning character from the first film, played perfectly by Salma Hayek. The relationship between Puss and Kitty is great. Their chemistry is really amazing in the film. They kind of form an alliance alongside this very friendly and naive therapy dog called Perito, who is really the heart of the film. He is relentlessly positive despite anything that bad happens to him. They form an alliance to get to the wishing star together. Their bond and conversations throughout the film's journey creates an interesting and funny dynamic. Besides the wolf character, who is really good, there are many more villains here. Whether it's Goldilocks and the Three Bears with their back and forth British banter, each one of them is hilarious and fun to watch. Perhaps the one character which I define as pure evil is Jack Horner, played by John Mulaney, the rich pastry chef who wants to get to the wishing star so he can control all magic in the world. He was absolutely hilarious with how much disregard he had towards his minions or anyone else around him. But perhaps the sleeper hit new character introduced in this movie is the Ethical Bug, who is essentially a parody of Jiminy Crickets, who is on Jack Horner's shoulder and he's trying to play his conscience. His commentary and call-outs throughout the film with regards to how Jack Horner is committing evil, atrocious acts is the most extremely well done and funny thing that I've seen in movies. I do like how, depending on who is holding and reading the magical map to get to the wishing star in the dark forest, the forest would shapeshift in accordance with each character's fears and insecurities. That not only provides variety in the film's environments, but based on who is holding the map, the forest completely changes, which then adds a layer of unpredictability to the goose chase after the wishing star. It is really cool how all the characters try to get control of the map so they get to reach the wishing star first so that the wishing star can grant them their wish. And this becomes a visual spectacle created by animators of the film to showcase the gorgeous upgrade in the animation department of the film. The Shrek films had a certain aesthetic and it was great, but I highly champion what they did here. The movie borrows a page from the animated film called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse by combining the 3D animation with an overlay of 2D animation, which really creates one of the best looking animated films yet. The animation is really exhilarating to watch, with the action scenes having the right amount of jankiness familiarized to us from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. I hope they carry this style forward into a new film set in the Shrek universe because it all looks extremely beautiful. The sound design and the soundtrack is also amazing. Some characters have their own themes, like the haunting and spooky whistle which plays when the wolf appears on screen, as well as the original songs designed for Puss and his heroic acts. The film is a cowboy western, a Tarantino-esque heist movie, and a hilarious comedy. The animation is masterclass, the voice acting perfect, and the story is just too damn good. Oh, and the wolf character gets a 10 out of 10 just for how cool he is. I did not expect this from a Puss in Boots film, and I am so glad I was able to watch it. Without any shenanigans involved, the final verdict for Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, is a perfect 10 out of 10. If you haven't already seen the film, do yourself a favor and watch it. The film is perfect in every way. You don't even have to watch the original film in order to understand what is going on, and that is also an incredible feat to achieve in an age of Marvel films which over-rely on the previous films and the overall interconnected universe. This wraps up our case. Do let me know what you thought about the film in the comment section below. This was The Critical Advocate, an advocate by day and a critic by night. Thank you for watching. Till next time, Svidanya, Khudafiz, and bye-bye.